So here we reduced, we had our new fraction, and then we broke apart our fraction. If you can't reduce, just break apart your fraction. So if I started with this, the first thing I would do would be break apart my fraction and then rationalize by multiplying the top and bottom by the denominator. So let's write that. Break apart fraction. Now we have a lot to do today and tomorrow we're together a truncated amount of time, so we need to make sure that we get as much done as possible. We are also, our schedule has changed, so it's up there.
Can I take conjunction after class?
You may.
Miss Asbury?
Yes.
Is Katie Johnson in there?
No.
Okay.
Alright, so let's look at this. Let's look at number 11 first. Or, let's see what. We could look at 7. Alright, so what I would do first is, let me adjust this because I don't. There we go. And zoom in because I know some of us can't see. Alright, so the first thing I would do on 7 is I would break apart my fraction. I would break it into the square root of 9 divided by the square root of 64.
Miss Asbury?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is Juliana Rodriguez in class?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I was waiting. Giving it a minute.
Is there someone sitting? No.
Okay. Alright, so then both of these are perfect squares, so you would just take the square root. The square root of 9 is 3, the square root of 64 is 8, boom, you're done. So you didn't have to rationalize that one. Did anybody get that right this weekend?
No, I did not.
Yeah. Your answer will be a fraction like 85% of the time in these. Yes.
So,
Words, use them.
I forgot how to say it.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yes.
Do you need a minute to get yourself together?
I don't know.
Wait, so since you showed us that one, can we, if we didn't do 11 through 14, can we do them right now?
Do y'all want to try them right now, or would you like to try 11 and then we'll look at the others together?
I want to try all of them
If
myself.
we're going to try one, can we do 14?
Can we do
Because I know how to do 11 instead of
Okay, do 11. Do 11 without me real quick.
What's that number 9?
No, you didn't do those.
Okay.
We're learning how to do that today.
Got number 11 right.
That was really easy.
And let me just go ahead and warn you guys now. If any of you tell me 8 is a perfect square today, I may throw something at you. Not even playing.
It is 2.82842.
When I stab you in the eyeball with this, just
It's
know
a
what's
cube.
coming.
It's a cube, though. It's a cube.
It is a perfect cube. Look at you learning something. Alright, did you guys get 3/10 for this one? Woo!
I know number 12 is.
Is everybody, wait, let's let everybody finish number 12.
I have to.
Is everybody done with 12? Ma'am? Okay, well, they're both perfect squares. This is the same thing that we just did. 4 and 25 are both perfect squares. So we take the square root of 4, which is 2, the square root of 25, which is 5, so our answer is 2/5. Yes.
On this sheet, for number, or 16, would you just multiply the numerator times the numerator?
I'll show you how to do it real quick. I have that right here. So for 16, and we're just going to be flipping back and forth just to go and warn everybody. You would multiply 6 times 1 and get 6, 7 times 3 and get 21, and I went ahead and broke up my radicals, and then I reduced my fraction. So I divided both of those by 3, and I got the square root of 2 divided by the square root of 7. We flip papers. This is 10-2 skills practice.
Just had
Because
it.
I didn't understand 14 was blank, and since we were waiting, I just kind of.
I think we've confused everyone.
No, I found my paper. I had it and I couldn't find it.
It's let it go, let it go. I can't hold it back anymore. I'll throw my heart, copy on your face.
Who thinks?
Your face. All right, so I broke it down into the square root of 6 divided by the square root of 21. And then I reduced by dividing both by 3. So then from here, we cannot have a radical in the denominator. And that's not a perfect square, so you rationalize. By rationalizing, you multiply the top and bottom by the denominator. The denominator is the square root of 7, so I multiplied the top and bottom by the square root of 7. Is everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Now, you ready? Okay. So then from there you get the square root of 7 times the square root of 7, which is 7. Bam. And then you do the square root of 2 times the square root of 7, and you get the square root of 14.
Oh,
Yes.
So you don't, so like it wouldn't be 7 times 7, which is 49 and 50 cents.
It is the square root of 7 times the square root of 7, which would be the square root of 49, which is 7. So you can skip that middle step, yeah. And that's the beauty of if you have the same radicand like that, it just disappears. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Can you repeat how you got the 7 as numerator and denominator?
Here?
I missed that.
Yes. Okay, so this is the rationalizing step where you multiply the top and bottom by whatever your denominator is. So if your denominator was the square root of potatoes, you would multiply the top and bottom by the square root of potatoes. So you rationalize by multiplying it by the denominator.
Wait, why are we still get
Yes. Look at them listening skills developing finally. Alright, are we ready to flip back to the other page? Again, we're going to be flipping a lot. Number 14, since I can't reduce, I went ahead and broke it up. And then I multiplied the top and bottom by the square root of 3. Because I need to rationalize it to get rid of the 3. So then 5 times, the square root of 5 times the square root of 3 gave me the square root of 15. The square root of 3 times the square root of 3 gave me 3. Does that help anybody make a little bit more sense? Yes, sir.
And so, why don't we simplify?
Which one, baby?
Like, it's like,
Okay, so you can't. That's a great question. The 15 and the 14 are both under the radical, right? You can't touch it. Unless you had a radical on the bottom. That's the only way. Yes, ma'am.
Why do we put the radical, the radicand, whatever, neighborhood sign? Why do we put that under the numerator?
Because it is the numerator.
So it's not like if we just put like 14 divided by 7, you kind of wrong.
Correct.
It's going to be on our exam.
Yes.
oh, I have to take this.
There's like 4 problems of it. No exams, multiple choice. It's 56 problems. You're getting a... Can we shut the door, please? So on the other worksheet on number 13, can you reduce 20 27ths? No. So I would start this by breaking it apart into 2 radicals. So I would break it down into the square root of 20 divided by the square root of 27. And then, can we have a radical in the denominator? No. So you have to rationalize, which means we have to multiply the top and bottom by what? It is not 27. It is the square root of 27. Those are 2 different numbers.
I had to see it, man.
Wait, so when you like, if you do it on your calculator, do you, never mind.
Oh, it's 140.
It's not.
What is?
Oh, my bad.
Can you stop and get it under control?
540.
The square root of 540 divided by 27. Alright, so now we need to simplify that 540. What is the... Alright, I'm going to show you 2 ways to do it. What's the biggest perfect square that goes into 540? There's your list of perfect squares. Divide, don't just yell numbers at me, okay? We're in pre-AP, we should know how to divide. You feel like it's 64? Well, then do 540 divided by 64 and tell me what you get. You will need a calculator for the exam, and I will only have like 2. So, suggest you find a calculator before you walk in my door.
What if I bought you a new coffee mug?
I don't want a new coffee mug.
So, wow. So I brought you a whole thing.
It's a decimal.
All right, so it's not 64.
It's 15 and 36.
36. Okay. Now, you divided 540 by that. You could also do it another way. We know that the biggest perfect square that goes into 27 is 9, right? And the biggest perfect square that goes into 20 is 4, right? What's 9 times 4? That's the biggest one that goes into that one. Magic! Alright, so I wanted to show you 2 ways.
I'm still kind of stuck
Yeah.
on this. You wouldn't take my coffee mug.
Alright, so that's 36 and 15. What's the square root of 36? So it's 6 root 15 divided by 27. What do 6 and 27 reduce to? What goes into both of those?
3.
Alright, what's 6 divided by 3?
2.
What's 27 divided by 3?
9. What? Wait.
That's your answer. Reduce your fraction.
I wish we had more room.
I know,
I agree with you.
but I didn't really want to make more copies than necessary.
It's okay.
Super sorry.
Back though.
Yeah, so you can turn it over and write on there. Look at you problem solving.
What about you like a Harry Potter like face on it? And I gave it to you.
Do we still do those points?
And it looked good.
That's from me.
You would take it.
Not this week.
You wouldn't take it.
I'm just tired.
I don't think we did them last week.
We did.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, Dalen, stop talking to me! Alright, so now that you know how to do that, break apart 14. Dalen, I do not care what you want.
I'm going to give you a coffee mug.
Give Zoe a coffee mug. She'll drink tea out of it.
Oh, she's mean.
Okay. So am I. Why are you wanting to give me anything?
Because you're a teacher.
Okay, do number 14 before I pour hot coffee on your face.
I want you to do it, so I want to see what happens.
You'll cry.
I would not cry. I would get highly upset and mad.
highly upset. You're crying.
Start running to it. That is not crying.
Get him, Patrick. Hello? Talk to your group.
I forgot what I was going to ask.
Okay.
Wait, so when you like you break it up into like square root of 8 divided by square root of 8, do you, and like you're multiplying it, do you like put it in the square root of 27?
Not into your calculator. You multiply 27 times 8 and then put it under the radical.
You get slowly. So we put in our calculator, it's going to come out like you doing it. So I'm just making sure, because, you know, what if it don't?
No, your calculator does not put it in simplest radical form.
So the answer to it is
Wait, told to your group. Not everybody's done.
I'm going to be a bike. A bike.
Told to your group.
Why do you keep doing the same?
I'm so happy I got to take my exams. Still got to do that 60 questions.
Are you going to miss me terribly this summer? You won't be able to see me.
Unless you're doing geometry, I'll see you next year.
I'm sure you'll still stop by to talk to me and drive me crazy. You know, the years.
What if me and Micah get the same? Wait, what if you're teaching geometry next year? Then me and Micah get the
If I don't
same class
get, if you
grade?
teach geometry next year and I don't get you, I'm gonna be mad at you.
You have to put me and Micah by each other. You have to.
I don't have to do
Well, I mean, you
anything.
don't have to.
You know better than to say that to me.
You
No, I'm
should.
not. But, like, don't
You
say
should,
that.
because we're neighbors. And it just
All right, y'all get 3 root 6 divided by 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
Woo!
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
I'm confused. How did you go from the 6 or
What?
I got that too.
Right here. Say here.
I
I got 2. I got 9 and 12. Or I got 12 and 18.
Neither of those are perfect squares.
What the hell do you? What is that?
Hey, are you watching that movie?
36 and 6. And the way you get it is the biggest perfect square that goes into 27 is 9. The biggest perfect square that goes into 8 is 4. 9 times 4 is 36, so that's the biggest one that goes into here.
Wait,
I got what your answer was. You know what's crazy?
Your face.
So on my agenda.
Look at you.
Wait, what's the number in the...
3 root 6 divided by 4.
There's
Is
nothing.
it the same up there?
6 root 6 divided by 8.
Yeah, there's nothing. Else.
So 216 breaks down into 36 and 6.
Where do you get 4?
Okay, let's just watch.
Computer monitor looks really cool.
If you say that, you know.
You ever waved your hand in front of a crappy computer monitor?
No, dude.
It's really cool.
Right? You get 36 and 6. So I see how I got that?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the square root of 36 is 6. This 6 stays under the radical because he's by himself and wants to read Harry Potter.
And 2 and 5.
Then we reduce this fraction. Does everybody see how I got to this point before I go any further?
You are.
Alright, now reduce my fraction. 2 goes into both 6 and 8. So I'm going to divide both of these by 2.
Oh, and then it's 3.
6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Magic!
I was making a lot with what's wrong here. Yeah, me too.
Okay, let's look at, while we're on this roll of getting this done,
Keep going better.
let's look at 35 real quick.
What's wrong with you?
I just want you to look at 35. Calm yourself before I punch you in your throat.
What about 33 too?
Dude, look at 35. Now, we have to, exactly. We have to rationalize, which means we have to multiply the top and bottom by what?
20. Square root of 20.
The square root of 20. Thank you, Patrick, for keeping my faith in humanity.
You just said 20.
So that, okay, baby, what are you confused on?
Why did, I thought you were supposed to like, reduce
Now, you see how this 4 is not under the radical? You can't reduce it.
You're just going crazy. I'm lazy.
I'm about to put you in the hall. Okay. Alright, so we have to multiply by the denominator. So now the square root of 20 times the square root of 20 is 20. Bless you. And then you do 4 root 20. What?
Wait.
What?
Yeah, what?
Oh, she was breaking 20 apart.
Okay, now you would break 20 apart into 4 and 5, right? Alright, what's the square root of 4? Sweet baby
Oh,
Jesus.
my bad. Sorry.
What is the square root of 4? 2 times 4 is 8 root 5 divided by 20. Now, can 8 and 20 reduce? What goes into both 8 and 20? 4. What's 8 divided by 4? What's 20 divided by 4? Boom, we're done.
See, I was just gonna skip that step where it was the get into the yeah, I was just gonna skip that step.
Okay, don't do that. Good talk. Alright, does anybody have any other questions? Do you want to do 33 real quick without me? Yes.
And I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
You have to do it without me. Go. While he's asking this question, do it without me.
What number?
Yes. That's the point of what we're doing is write it in simplest radical form. So if it's not, I'm going to count off. Good talk.
You got Tiffany's maybe stepped on it?
Nope. Pew, pew, pew.
No way, it's senior things.
What did y'all multiply the top and bottom by?
2.
No, you didn't. I don't know what you meant. They're 2 different numbers. Oh, I swear on all things holy, there is no love left in this room.
What about this love one?
Wait, so that's just the answer?
Yes.
I thought you were supposed to.
Oh my god, you're right!
1 and 2.
I didn't know that.
Carly, nothing goes into both 3 and 2, babe. You can't do it if there's nothing that goes into it.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna fail this test. Me too, man.
Hey, I ain't gotta take it, sis.
Tell us what again you have to do.
Look at 19. Look at 19. My tater tots. Y'all, we got a whole new lesson to do too. Like,
We gotta get into the lesson today after.
we get into the lesson. We persevering in the face of danger, y'all.
It's 10:30.
It's 10:30.
Why are you always saying somebody calling you fat?
Alright, so I would start by breaking this apart. Zoe, you're 4 pounds. Nobody's calling you fat. Calm down.
Hey, let's go.
You're like the size of one of my thighs. Calm down. Exactly.
And he laughed, and he cried.
Okay, so I broke it apart. Now, can I take the square root of x?
No.
There's one of them, so it's just the square root of x. What would the square root of y to the 4th power become? Oh, it's like we've learned something and you're done.
Man, I ain't gotta take this test. This is great.
My dad used to do that with a belt.
What's up, bro?
But he used to put my hand in it.
What's your hand?
Rodney.
Yeah, like, you know how, like,
I ain't gotta worry about this.
paddled on your hand?
You still gotta worry about my class,
My
child.
dad does
For
that with
real.
a belt.
I just gotta
but
finish
he
the
has to-
study guide now.
Alright, break apart 20. And then we moving
I
on.
was crying.
Patrick.
What Patrick did.
Oh, you know that game Slaps?
Whistling.
That game Slaps or something.
Yes, now do number 20.
Oh, my dad used to punch me. It was really hard.
Explain so much about why you are the way you are.
Truly, he made me that.
I got hit in the building with a dick. PS4, I kind of sucked.
No one cares to your mouth.
It was stinky.
Break it apart first.
You still multiply by
Yeah. I said with Cheney here, or is it?
I can't remember if it was in first period or not. We took a test, so it was quiet.
There's 5 square root.
Yes.
I was looking at your over there. Yeah, I heard my deal.
You heard about it?
Huh?
And going crazy. 25. It is 25.
Wait, that's a 2?
Yes, sir.
This is exactly where I'm going to fail.
Right.
I ain't gotta take the test.
Okay, unexamined.
I'm about to if he keeps saying it.
You know, okay, I'm gonna take it.
Oh my gosh. Stop acting like I just wrote Greek on the board and you've never seen it before. For the love of God. So it's the square root of 50 divided by the square root of z to the 5th. So instead of rationalizing first, I went and broke down both of mine. You can do it either way.
Well,
You can do it either way. So I'm going to show you the way I did it by breaking it down. I broke this down into 25 and 2. And then there's 2 goes into 5 twice with 1 z left over. The square root of 25 is 5, so this becomes 5 root 2. Does everybody see how I got there?
Wait, I see.
Guys, we've done this before. We have done this.
I remember that part.
2 goes into 5 2 times with 1 left over.
Because it's like,
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 z's. That's 2 groups of 2 with 1 left over.
yes, I remember that.
Okay,
We didn't know exactly where to put the extras.
it's okay. I'm going to show you. So now we multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of z. Because we have to get rid of that radical. Okay? Do you understand?
Yes.
Alright, so the square root of z times the square root of z becomes z. So then it's z squared times z, which is z cubed. Because 2 plus 1 is 3. Then 2 times the square root of 2 times the square root of z is the square root of 2z. So it's 5 square root of 2z. Yeah, because you have to rationalize right here to get rid of that. So we multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of z.
Why is there 2 and it?
Because 25 and 2 make up 50. I broke this down into 25 and 2. The biggest perfect square that goes into 50 is 25. 25 times 2. So then I got 5 root 2. Because this is the one by himself that wants to stay inside and read Harry Potter.
Where'd you get Z cubed from?
Because z squared times z becomes z cubed.
Did you drop one of the Z's then?
I didn't. I did the square root of z times the square root of z and I got z.
Oh,
I want to play pin the donkey.
Alright. Let's look at this one real quick, 18, before we just go any further, and then we're doing our lesson. We gotta hustle. Alright, the first thing, do 4 and 5 reduce?
No, it doesn't.
No, so we break it apart into 4h divided by the square root of 5. The square root of 4h divided by the square root of 5. Now, what do?
Multiply by square root of 5.
Multiply by the square root of 5. Look at us go.
See, I can get this far.
Alright, the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is 5. The square root of 4 times the square root of 5 is what?
20H.
Alright, what does 20 break down into?
4 and 5.
And what's the square root of 4?
2.
Does that 5 stay inside?
Yes.
So it's 2 root 5h divided by 5.
So that's it.
Yep.
Okay, see, I can get that far. That one's not that hard.
You don't have a crazy one on your test.
Okay. On our test, as in the exam, or
Yeah.
as in this?
The exam. We're going to have like a quiz. It's like 5 problems, one from each thing we've
Like
done.
one of the check things?
Yeah. And that's going to be counted as a test grade.
That's it.
Alright, let's look at our notes right here. The last thing that we have to do is conjugates to get super excited, part 4.
I can't even spell conjugate.
Well, it's right there on the paper for you.
Got easy conjugates.
Alright, so we know to rationalize whenever we have just a square root in the denominator, correct? We know that we have to rationalize, but what happens if you have a number plus a square root? You have to use the conjugate, and the word conjugate means the opposite. So what that means is if you have the square root of b plus the square root of c, you would have to multiply it by the opposite. The opposite of plus is? That's it. That's all you have to do. It's really not difficult. Is everybody ready? So to get rid of this, what is the opposite of plus? So you have to multiply the top and the bottom by 5 minus the square root of 2 divided by 5 minus the square root of 2. And it looks crazy complicated from here, right? It's not. You're going to multiply 3 times 5 minus the square root of 2. And this is the difference of 2 squares. So all you have to do is 5 squared minus the square root of 2 squared. Because normally we would use FOIL, right? You don't have to do that. You just have to multiply the first two together and the last two together. That's it. Alright, so now how would we get rid of parentheses? Distribute. So what's 3 times 5?
15.
And what's 3 times the square root of 2? 3 root 2. Are you ready to see what the denominator does? What's 5 squared?
25.
The square root of 2 squared is 2. So what's 25 minus 2?
23.
And you're done. I know. It's not. It's really what you do every single time.
Okay, but is it going to get crazy? and
Nope.
get compared
It's
to
really what you do. Nope. Alright, let's do B together. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we have 2 plus the square root of 2, so we have to multiply by the conjugate. What is the conjugate of 2 plus the square root of 2? Yes, so let's multiply the top and the bottom by 2 minus the square root of 2. Alright, can we go ahead and distribute that 3 since we know we're going to have to do that? Alright, what's 3 times 2? What's 3 times the square root of 2? 3 root 2. Alright, and then the bottom, we're going to square these. What's 2 squared? So that becomes 4 minus, what's the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? 2. And what's 4 minus 2? Isn't it amazing?
A lot more amazing than the other stuff.
Ma'am?
A lot more amazing than the other stuff.
Yeah. You ready for another one? Do you want to try it without me or you want to do it together? Okay, try it without me. Does anybody have any questions on A or B before we go any further? You're okay? Yes.
Like if you, like if the numbers are different and you get a negative for that for the bottom, does that affect it at all?
No, you're fine. Robin, are you done, babe? Three squared is 9. Square root of 7, square root is 7. 9 minus 7 is 2. Yes.
Is it 7 times?
Oh, it should be 3. Wait. No, that's right. 7 times what? Say it to me again.
Isn't 7 times the square root of 7 1?
No, it would.
7.
No. Because this isn't another radical. So it's 7 times the square root of 7, which would be 7 root 7. Because you can't multiply those 7s together because they're not under the radical.
How'd you get the 2?
3 squared is 9. The square root of 7, square root is 7. So 9 minus 7 is 2.
Oh, because
Ask me, baby.
I got 21 plus square root of 7 divided by 16.
Okay, so you didn't multiply the 7 times the square root of 7.
I multiplied 7 by 2.
You have to multiply by both of them.
So,
This is being multiplied to here and to here. Okay? And then here you would have, this would become 3 squared minus the square root of 7 squared. 3 squared is 9. Square root of 7 squared is 7. 9 minus 7 is 2. See what I did? Are you sure? Okay, where'd I lose you? Because a negative times a positive is a... And you see how it's been a plus and minus here, and it's a minus? You just subtract each time. Do y'all want to do another one? I feel like we need to. So let's look at that other, the 10-2 worksheet. Let me get mine out of here. And not mine with all the answers. The 10-2 worksheet, let's look at number 21 together. And I want to walk through it together again just to make sure we're all on the same page, okay? Alright, now what is the conjugate here? 4 minus root 5, yep, so we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by 4 minus root 5. Alright, so do y'all want me to go ahead and distribute, or do you want me to still do it step by step to show you? Step by step? Okay, we can do that. Alright, so you would do 2 times 4 minus root 5 divided by 4 squared minus the square root of 5 squared. Are we okay? Do we need a moment to process? Okay, take a moment to process. It would be 16 minus 5. Yeah. Is that a minus or a plus up top? I can't really read because you're waving it.
Plus.
Minus.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so then from here you distribute, right? You distribute that there and there. And that gives you 8 minus 2 root 5. Do we all see how I got that? Okay. And then 4 squared is 16. Minus the square root of 5 squared is 5. 16 minus 5 is 11. Do y'all want to do one more together, just to be safe? Or can you try it without me? Yes.
How come we don't subtract 8 minus 2?
Because this is 2 root 5. It's not just 2. That's a good question. Alright, try 22 without me. Did you guys have a good weekend? I didn't even ask y'all that.
Yes.
Did y'all do nice things for your mom? Good.
I do.
Good, good, good.
Whatever.
The day of the exam, or if you don't take the exam, Friday.
What did Mark do to it?
He let me stay in the bed until like 9 and brought me coffee and took care of the dogs, and we just laid there.
9 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Not late for you.
Oh yeah, I was up at like 5:30. And I just laid there. I don't sleep late anymore.
I went to church. I went to church.
I don't go to church, babe.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I was just running to see what happened.
And then he took me out to eat downtown with a friend of ours. That's okay.
Oh, I think I got the answer.
So you put that.
Yes, I
Oh,
got
I
it.
had
Oh, I had kept the one up on this.
where I got 7 because I did 4 plus 3.
Minus. A negative times a positive is a negative.
I had kept the one up on this. Can I do this?
No. Okay, can you guys handle some homework tonight, or?
I have homework to be homework on this one.
It is. Yeah, I want your homework to be 23 and 24. Patrick! And then I also want you to do, we didn't get to the next part of our lesson. Alright, let's see what we can do.
Oh, I already done.
23, 24, and then I want you to try, I think we can do it.
So 23 and 24 more pages.
Yeah, big.
21 through 25 and then 23 and 25.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and pass out your handout for tomorrow and give you your study guide for your final exam, okay? So somebody would help me pass out, okay.
But we don't have to do our study guide for homework.
Right. So your study guide is going to be, it's like 65 problems.